So let's go to Lance for the intros.
His record is 0-0. His height is 6'1" tall. He weighs 230 pounds and trains with Cobra BJJ. He is from Northport, Alabama. He is Anglin. In the red corner, he is 0-1. His height is 6'5" tall and his weight is 262 pounds. He trains with Spartan Fitness, and he comes to you from Homewood, Alabama.
A little bit of a hometown advantage, isn't there?
Richard Craig.
And guys, you can look at Richard's physique. He's 262, but if you look at him, you wouldn't think that. He's looking really leaned up for this fight, and man, I'm really excited to see what he's going to do.
So, guys, how big does the weight advantage play in this as both guys take the center? Look at them.
Man,
they're
I
swinging
think that's the
hard.
wrong approach.
Yeah, he's coming right after him right now. He needs to try and slow the pace down a little bit, tie him up for a minute, let the big guy tire himself out.
Well, big guy now is on top in full guard.
Now with Adam training out of
Spartan, out of
Cobra. Man, I used to train with Curtis, who's in his corner now. So I know Adam's going to have some game off his back and be able to get to his feet and at least threaten submissions here.
Well, that is one thing I've noticed from being around here. I haven't been here nearly as long as you guys, but I have heard of Cobra and Spartan. So you guys are two of the bigger organizations I'd imagine around here. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Two of the better gyms.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we have Richard here actively, just some body shots and stuff. This is more of just a positioning fight, trying to get in a position to do some serious damage here.
Well, like we talked about a few minutes ago, there is no face strikes to the ground at this point for this level amateur fights, correct? Like this is considered the novice.
Yes.
You're not allowed to strike to the face on the ground. So not a lot you can do here. You can land some good body punches, try and pass guard, maybe get into an effective position to get a submission.
But also, if you're a judge watching the fight right now, you have to think that Richard Craig is controlling the fight, where the fight takes place and whatnot. Got the takedown. So this is all control time for Richard Craig. And as an amateur with 3-minute rounds, you don't have that luxury of being able to rest. So Adam needs to find his way to his feet, or at least threaten submissions to, try something else. Because it looks like he's working for a Kimura here.
Well, it looks like that's kind of the hand he was dealt right there. He's getting his guard pass. I think it's kind of a last-ditch effort just to grab something. I don't think he's going to be able to get it as he did not.
Yeah, in the position he's in, being a much smaller man up against the cage, it's really going to be just quickness and something fast that's going to be able to let him get out of this.
Yeah, he's got to learn to use that cage to his advantage to walk himself back up.
Man, he's standing right up into a body lock, so he's either looking to get kneed or get slammed and taken back down to the mat. So he needs to get those hands from separated. He needs to separate Richard Craig's hands to make an opportunity for him to stand up.
Yeah, and he didn't look like he liked what was going on there. I would have liked to see Richard Craig right there throw a knee to the body.
Or even push off and do a flurry of punches. It would have been bad news at that point.
But you have to throw a flurry of punches to the body at that point because he was kind of down.
Right.
And with Adam's knee, as far down it is, I think it'd be, and his guard open, I think it'd be really easy for Richard Craig to stuff that knee and advance into mount or some kind of side control.
Well, Richard now is a little bit aggressive, but it's opened the door now for Adam to be able to, well, that changed mighty quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. All right. Richard's going to let him up now. Maybe he feels like he's softened him up a little bit. He wants to land some big punches now.
Well, Richard.
That's a lot of meat being thrown around in there.
Yep. Woo! Good end of the round.
Good flurry. For this to be a novice fight and them to be limited by the rules with a lot of what they could do, we saw a good bit of action considering that most of this round was on the ground.
Absolutely. Like you said, they were not able to strike to the ground, but they didn't even really notice that much because they did a lot of activity anyway. They throw a lot to the body, a lot of activity there, especially for heavyweights.
It's also good for Richard Craig because when you're on top, you're not doing a whole lot. When you're on bottom, you better be moving or you're getting hit.
Just look at the body.
I would think that Adam's a little more tired and Richard Craig's going to be a little more fresher, a little more crisper. They got to those.
Look at the body language of Richard right now versus Adam. You look at Richard sitting there cool and calm, like this is just another day in the park, no big deal. And you look over at Adam, he's gasping and.
Well, and it's like you guys talked about, two advantages that Richard had right there. Not only being the bigger guy and using his weight and lean on him, but being on that top position. Those are two strikes right now against Adam.
We're getting ready now for round number 2.
I like to see if this, I think both guys there kind of like the way that was going. I'd like to see if Richard likes to keep it on his feet a little bit more here and go for a knockout, or if he wants to take him down and control the pace again.
I think that Adam's going to start the same way he started the other round, with heavy overhands. But Richard Craig has some plans of his own, early takedown.
It looks like Richard's plan is to get the fight to the ground pretty early and just lean on him for most of the fight.
Well, man, you know, when you got a guy who's swinging wildly like that, you know, the helmet, as amateurs, they have 6-ounce gloves, which, man, is essentially a sock on your hand. So, you know, somebody swinging wildly, catch you, you know, on the right spot, it's lights out. So, you know, I think he has a good game plan. Get him tired, beat him up on the top. And then I think in the third round, I think Richard Craig, you know, maybe he'll put him away.
Look to land a heavy punch.
You think that you think this fight's going to go at least to the third round?
Just because, you know, this is where most of the first round took place. And, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of action. You know, you can't strike to the head, so you really can't force the bottom guy to move. You know, body shots, you know, they hurt, but they're not.
They're not game-ending punches, like you're saying. I mean, but what? Once again, I mean, Richard Craig is doing right now. He is gonna gas out Adam at this point, because this being heavy, being a 265-pound man and leaning against him like that, that's tough. That's difficult to deal with, and Adam is constantly trying to push Richard off. So it's very tiring.
Richard now is looks like he's almost past. He's at least in half guard.
Yeah.
And so he'll be able to step over pretty easily in just a second, I think, if he wants to.
In an MMA fight, you don't have to do jiu-jitsu. If he wants to stay right there, he doesn't have to advance his position. You know, the punches, you know, keep the fight where it's at. So as long as he's active, he doesn't, like in jiu-jitsu, if you stall out, they'll restart you. But here, the punches are good enough.
Yeah, and half guard's a very good position in jiu-jitsu, not a very good position in MMA, because you're just going to get beat on the whole time. So it's very difficult. It's two different sports. People, I think half guard's great. I don't think so in an MMA fight.
Looks like the ref not seeing enough action, standing them up.
Well, I think that's the best move from a fan's point of view, because they just kind of were just stalled out there. Both fighters a little bit wild at this point. Man, the smaller guy seems to have found a little bit extra energy now.
I think he's just really happy to be up on his feet and away from the big fella laying on him.
I am really kind of nervous if these two big guys come busting out of the side of this cage.
Hey, don't worry. They're
that's a lot of beef in our lap,
right
fellas.
on me.
Now, pretty forceful takedown. Most people don't understand that when you fall like that, there's actually some pain involved, right, Eric?
Yeah, you know, the mat absorbs a lot of that. You know, that sound you hear is more for the, you know, to make it for spectators, you know, make it sound worse than what it is. But, man, we're hearing Richard Craig have some really heavy leather to the body.
Already beginning to see
He may not feel that tonight, but tomorrow his ribs are going to be really sore. We're already seeing it start to turn red and welt up a little bit.
Yeah, after the story about his wife not being real happy about it, if he keeps getting bruised up like this, it may be a long day, not tonight, but just tomorrow as well.
Well, here's the problem. He's not going to get any sympathy at home, so you'll be like, yeah, that's what you get. Get your ass up, you know. So, and here's the thing. Right now, you got to look over the face of Adam. He's thinking, I got a bigger, stronger, heavier guy who continues to take me down. What do I do? You know, you get that look of, you know, confusion. I don't know how to stop this from happening. I mean, if he stands there and tries to throw punches, he runs the risk of getting knocked out as well there, but that's his best chance right now. He knows he's not going to win. He's not going to submit him on the ground. He's just going to try and do what he can on his feet.
So what is, Eric, you have actually been coached by both coaches here in this. What do you think that either coach is telling their guy at this point?
Well, I've never actually competed in MMA with Curtis Taylor, but I have competed for him in jiu-jitsu tournaments, and I know he's very deliberate in his delivery. He gives a lot of good instructions how to advance the position and things like that. And, you know, Chris has a lot of experience with MMA coaching. So, you know, he gets right down to the point, tells you what you need to do, how to win the rounds, and what you need to do to win the fight.
So Adam, at this point, I would say we all would have to agree, needs to get a knockout to win this fight.
Yeah, Richard Craig is definitely winning 2-0.
Man, there's some heavy blows
see
happening
sweat
right
flying
here.
everywhere.
Oh, man.
And Richard Craig is going to get that takedown again, I think.
Definitely looks like he's in position for it.
I think Adams looking to.
He was trying to get a guillotine there, but that would have been a big mistake to try and grab that. He looks, at this point, he's just too big and strong right now.
Yeah, it seems like that Adams just struggling to do anything.
Yeah, man, in jiu-jitsu, the main thing they say is position before submission, and I think it's like that for the striking game as well. He's landing strikes, but now Richard Craig is in on a single leg, so he needs to be defending and not really worry so much about the strikes.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes when you start striking, it puts you in a bad position. Like it may lift your hips up and making the takedown easier for that guy.
Looks like Richard is selling out for the
If Richard can lock those hands together, it's going to be big problems for Adam. He's just got to keep those hands from locking together.
Like they call this an Iranian position with your head in between their legs, working for the double leg. Probably looking to switch it off to a single leg here.
And a lot of people here might look like these guys are leaning on each other and resting. They don't understand. This is like an isometric flex the whole time. You're trying to do something, they're trying to stop it. This is extremely exhausting right here.
This is chess basically with bodies and a lot of muscle.
And so tiring a lot of times.
Yeah, both guys are really working here. This really isn't a position of rest for either one of the guys. As long as Richard Craig stays active on the takedown.
Look, he's trying to get a
chance to
guillotine.
rest.
Got a guillotine attempt right now. He's got both.
It looks like oh man.
And the sweat there may have been a factor. If that happens in the first round, maybe it helps him. Third round, not so much.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Richard Craig doesn't have a neck. Those heavyweights, it's hard to choke them like that.
I'm sure Adam noticed that when he tried to grab that move.
So Richard now is just basically continuing what he's done most of the fight, trying to advance a little bit, but not really doing a whole lot of damage. But that's part of the rules at this point.
Well, and here's the thing, at this point he's thinking, I'm winning the fight. It's up to Adam to do something different. Why am I going to do anything different? I got to make him put himself in a bad position to beat me, and then I can capitalize on it.
And guys, to be honest, in some ways, I like the no strikes to the face, because now it forces Richard Craig, it forces the guy on top to have to play a little bit of jiu-jitsu and grapple from the top, It's really easy when you can just posture up and let them have it, but further down your career, you're not going to be able to do that to everybody, so it's good experience.
Guys, looks like this fight's going to go to the scorecard.
I would have to imagine that Richard Craig won all three of those rounds. A lot of top pressure, top position, probably landed the cleaner strikes as well. Controlled the vast majority of the fight.
100%. But I found that a pretty entertaining fight to watch. It was a good way to start off the night.
Oh, for it to be both guys' debut fights, or I think Richard was 1-1 if I'm not mistaken. His second and Adam's debut fight. It's really a lot. You got to respect both of these guys for how well they handled themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
So at this point, both of you guys have been in the ring before. At this point, what's going through your mind as you're waiting for the scorecard to be delivered?
Well, it's a little different depending on what's going on. If you know you lost all 3 rounds, you're not real happy. You're like, man, I just want to get out of here. I can't wait for this to be over. If you won, you're just hoping, man, these referees better not, or the judges better not rip me off. If it's a close fight, it's a totally different thing, in my opinion. Eric, what about you? You've lost some split decisions, so that's the frustrating part.
What was your question?
Eric, we was asking about, as you're sitting here in the cage right now, waiting for the judges to tally and the scores to come up, what goes through your mind as you're sitting there doing that?
Man, it really depends how the fight went. A fight like that, it's pretty obvious who won, so you already know what the deal is. But really close fights, man, you're trying to remember the fight, how the fight went, what strikes were landed. I think I did this. I think I almost wobbled him. I hurt him.
Well, Eric, let's go to Lance so he can tell us what's going on.
Judge 1, 27-30. Red. Judge 2, 27-30. Red. Judge 3, 26-30. Your winner, Richard